Have you ever wondered what secrets lie beneath the surface of everyday life? What if someone you trust, a teacher, a friend, a neighbor, was hiding a chilling truth? In the quiet Dutch town of Doetinchem, an unspeakable tragedy began on a winter's day in 2006. A group of children, their laughter echoing near a frozen pond, made a discovery that would haunt the community for decades. A lifeless newborn baby, wrapped hastily in fabric, lay partially submerged in the icy water. Who was this baby? And, more importantly, who could have committed such an unthinkable act? Today, we unravel the mystery of baby Sem Visjerberg, a case that lay dormant for 15 years until a single tip shattered the silence. Housevil, true crime involving family. Every family has secrets, any family can cross the line. Hi, I'm Matt. Welcome to Housevil, where we explore the darkest stories of family secrets turned tragic. Let's dive into this heartbreaking tale from the Netherlands, a story that proves that sometimes the truth is closer than we think. The discovery of baby Sem on January 29, 2006, shook the town of Doetinchem to its core. Named by the children who found him, Sem was a newborn, his life stolen within hours of birth. The police immediately launched an investigation, but with no witnesses and no immediate leads, the case turned cold. Years later, a single tip and a DNA test would point to an unexpected suspect, the baby's own mother, Jessica. A beloved kindergarten teacher and a seemingly kind-hearted woman, Jessica's name was the last anyone expected to hear. How did this happen? Let's start at the beginning. Doetinchem, a peaceful town nestled in the eastern Netherlands, seemed an unlikely setting for such a gruesome event. On that cold January morning, a group of children ventured out to play near the Visjerberg pond. Their innocent game took a horrific turn when they stumbled upon a small bundle. Beneath layers of fabric, they found the body of a newborn baby. The town's shock quickly turned to grief and confusion. Who could abandon a child like this, and why? The coroner's report revealed that Sem had been killed within 12 hours of his birth. The cause of death was violent, not an accident, but a deliberate act. Investigators scoured the area for clues and reached out to the community for information, but no one could identify the baby's parents. The case stalled, leaving the memory of Sem as a painful, unanswered question in the hearts of Doetinchem's residents. Over the years, the mystery became something of a ghost story, whispered about at community gatherings and in classrooms. The image of the small bundle in the water haunted those who had been part of the discovery. Police officers assigned to the case expressed frustration at the lack of progress, noting that a lack of forensic technology in 2006 hampered their ability to gather evidence. Despite these challenges, the community's determination to remember Sem never wavered. Flowers were left by the pond each year on the anniversary of his discovery, a quiet, poignant memorial to a life that had barely begun. As the years passed, Doetinchem's residents began to wonder if the case would ever be solved. How could someone hide such a dark secret for so long? The whispers of suspicion never truly faded, yet no one had answers. For the children who found Sem, the discovery remained a defining moment of their childhood, one that left a shadow over their memories of innocent winter games. For 15 years, the case remained unsolved. Then, in 2021, a breakthrough came, not through forensic advancements or persistent detective work, but from a tip. An old colleague of Jessica, a former kindergarten teacher, reached out to the police. She remembered something peculiar. Jessica had taken 2 weeks off work in 2006. Citing illness, she'd returned noticeably slimmer, prompting lighthearted jokes among her colleagues. At the time, no one suspected a pregnancy. But with the case still unsolved, the memory nagged at her conscience. The colleague described Jessica as an unforgettable presence at the school, someone who was always ready with a kind word or a creative solution to a classroom problem. Her dedication to her students was unmatched, making it all the more difficult for her colleagues to reconcile the eventual revelation with the person they thought they knew. DNA testing confirmed the unthinkable. Jessica was Sem's biological mother. Now 37, she was confronted with the evidence and brought to trial. Her defense was shocking. She claimed to have no memory of the pregnancy, the birth, or the act that ended her baby's life. Psychological evaluations painted a complex picture. Jessica displayed traits of narcissism and a lack of empathy, but no clear signs of mental illness. Her family, unaware of her pregnancy at the time, expressed their willingness to help had they known. Yet, Jessica chose silence. Investigators pieced together a timeline of events, revealing how Jessica's fear and denial had led her to act out of desperation. It became clear that she had gone to great lengths to conceal her pregnancy. Her family, her friends, and even her closest colleagues remained entirely unaware of her condition. This secrecy made the crime even more shocking when it finally came to light. The timeline pieced together by investigators painted a grim picture. Jessica, overwhelmed by the reality of her pregnancy, gave birth in secret. In a state of panic, she made the fateful decision to abandon her newborn in the Visherberg pond. The choice was not premeditated but born of desperation. Experts on neonaticide, the killing of a newborn within 24 hours of birth, noted that Jessica's actions aligned with patterns seen in similar cases. Most perpetrators are young, single women who feel unprepared for motherhood and lack support systems. The community struggled to process the revelation. How could someone so beloved and trusted be capable of such a horrific act? Questions of complicity and responsibility began to surface. Could anyone have intervened? Were there warning signs that had been missed? These questions added another layer of complexity to an already heart-wrenching case. The courtroom was packed in May 2024 when Jessica finally faced justice. Tearfully, she addressed the court, saying, "It is my child, but also not my child." I don't remember. The statement left the room stunned. How could a mother forget such a critical moment of her life? Experts testified that while trauma can obscure memory, it's unlikely that Jessica's case was entirely one of amnesia. Instead, they argued, her actions were likely driven by panic and a desperate attempt to hide the pregnancy. The prosecution highlighted her calculated decision to conceal her pregnancy from everyone around her, including her close-knit family. The trial brought up difficult questions for those who knew Jessica. Her colleagues from the school attended the proceedings, some of them openly weeping as they struggled to reconcile their memories of her warmth with the evidence presented. Her family, visibly shaken, expressed both their sorrow for Sem and their love for Jessica. The judge's summation was both empathetic and stern. He acknowledged the mitigating circumstances of Jessica's youth and inexperience, but emphasized the severity of her actions. Jessica was sentenced to 4 years in prison for manslaughter, a sentence that many found either too lenient or too harsh, depending on their perspective. The case of baby Sem Visherberg remains a sobering reminder of the hidden struggles some women face and the devastating consequences of silence. For Doetinchem, the resolution brought some closure, but also unearthed deep discomfort. How could a woman, celebrated as a loving and capable teacher, commit such an act? Colleagues described her as one of the kindest people, a sentiment that seemed at odds with the truth. Jessica was sentenced to 4 years in prison for manslaughter. The sentence sparked mixed reactions. Some felt it was too lenient given the gravity of the crime. Others believed it reflected the mitigating circumstances of Jessica's youth and psychological state. The town of Doetinchem, once united in grief, now grappled with a complex sense of betrayal and pity. The emotional impact of the case extended beyond Doetinchem. Nationally, it sparked renewed conversations about neonaticide and the societal pressures that contribute to it. How can we, as a society, ensure that young women in crisis have access to the support they need? What can be done to prevent such tragedies in the future? How many other women might be hiding similar struggles behind closed doors? The pond where Sem was found has become a quiet place of reflection. The children who found him are now adults, carrying the memory of that day with them. Some have spoken about how the experience shaped their lives, fostering a sense of justice and a determination to protect others. The tragedy of baby Sem Visherberg is not just a tale of loss, but of missed opportunities for intervention. Jessica's silence, born out of fear, shame, or both, allowed a preventable tragedy to unfold. It's a story that forces us to ask difficult questions about the pressures young women face, the stigma surrounding unplanned pregnancies, and the importance of support systems. It also reminds us of the resilience of communities, the weight of accountability, and the enduring need for compassion. What are your thoughts on Jessica's sentence? Could more have been done to prevent this tragedy? And what can we as a society do to ensure that no other child suffers a similar fate? Let's continue this conversation in the comments. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to subscribe to Housevil for more stories that reveal the dark truths behind family bonds. Share your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.